What is up, YouTube? It is almost 2019, and that means it's my favorite time of the year, where we get to go through all of my favorite movies from the past year and talk about what I liked about them specifically. I thought I'd do something fun. I usually make sort of like a blog post or post something on Facebook for my grandpa. If people like this, I'll make more videos. I was thinking about making a worst movies of 2018 as well. But let's just try best movies of 2018. So what are we waiting for? Let's just get into it right now. So starting off the list at number 10, I have a small movie called The Endless. Now, The Endless is one of those unique movies where the lead actors in the movie actually wrote and directed it as well. I can't imagine doing both of those things at the same time, but it really makes it clear when you watch the movie that these actors are very committed to their roles. They understand perfectly the vision, and it's just a great movie to watch. If you liked movies like Primer or Inception, it's got a similar feel. There's a sci-fi element to it. There's some time travel. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but it is really enjoyable from that perspective. I recently watched this movie again, and the second time through it made so much more sense. It's one of those where it's not going to be perfect right away when you first watch it. You're still going to be asking some questions, but that's okay. I really enjoyed the ride when it was going on. And you can actually check this movie out on Netflix for the time being, so I would recommend The Endless to you today. At number 9, we have Game Night, starring Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. This was easily one of the most fun times in the theater I've had all year. Most comedies I don't actually laugh at. I'm sure everyone heard about the most recent Will Ferrell movie. It currently has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the few actually good comedies out this year. Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams, Kyle Chandler is fantastic. This movie is great for adults. It's not a stupid, silly comedy that you might be expecting. I really enjoyed Game Night, so I recommend checking it out. At number 8, I picked Unsane, starring Claire Foy. So Unsane is also one of those small movies directed by Steven Soderbergh. It didn't get a lot of press, and that's why I really wanted to put it on my list. So Unsane is about Claire Foy. She moves to a new city. She's trying to get away from her stalker, and some way or another she gets locked into a mental hospital against her will. Claire Foy, you might know her from The Crown. I think she was in another movie recently, but this movie really shows off her acting chops. Very believable performance. The story was also excellent. Soderbergh's direction was very creative, and this is interesting coming from a veteran director where you would expect more of mainstream movies to be made. He really took a chance, and I think it paid off with At number 7, I wanted to talk about Paul Schrader's First Reformed. This movie stirred up all kinds of emotions for me, and I think this is much thanks to Ethan Hawke's excellent performance as the lead role in First Reformed. The story deals with faith, depression, climate change, the environment, and I really do think that this film handled those topics very well. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but the ending of this movie is very thought-provoking. To be honest, I still don't know what it's supposed to mean, but I really do think if you like this kind of dramatic movie, you will enjoy First Reformed. Number 6 on our list is Bo Burnham's 8th Grade. 8th Grade is one of those eye-opening coming-of-age films where you really do feel like you understand the characters on a deeper level. Elsie Fisher, I think her name is, was so believable as an 8th grader, and that's probably due to the fact that she actually is in 8th grade when she made this movie. I personally connected with this movie a lot. It's that feeling of insecurity, that sense of belonging, and trying to figure out who you are that are tackled in this movie. And I really do feel like it did a great job. Gucci. And at number 5, we have Thoroughbreds. So Thoroughbreds is another one of those where you might not have heard of it, but it really was a great film that you need to see this year. The 2 leads in this film, I don't remember their names, but they really had great chemistry. They had this nice personality difference that made them very fun to watch. This is another one of those coming-of-age movies, but it has a darker twist towards the end that really made it compelling. I loved the music in this movie. It was weird, but I really felt like it added something that made the movie more interesting. It is important to note that this was the late Anton Yelchin's last film, and he was terrific in it as well. Number 4 is Annihilation. Annihilation easily had the best soundtrack of the year, and when I was in the theater seeing this movie, it sounded incredible. If you had the chance to see this in IMAX or Dolby surround sound, you know what I'm talking about. It felt like the theater was going to burst with noise, and I really liked that part of Annihilation. Natalie Portman and Ex Machina's Alex Garland really are terrific together, and I hope that they continue making movies together. I remember vividly watching this movie in theaters and leaving the theater afterwards with my friends, just sort of talking about it, thinking, like, what actually was this movie about? What did it represent? And it's those kind of movies that really make me enjoy going to the theaters, because if you can't have thought-provoking film, what's the point? Check out Annihilation. Alright, number 3 goes to Mid-90s. Mid-90s is Jonah Hill's directorial debut. Yes, that Jonah Hill. And it is about a bunch of skater kids that really just are up to no good. And we have the singled out younger kid who we follow his family, how he gets into the skating scene with these kids. But the story is so much deeper than that. It's really not about skating. It's more about these characters and what they go through, what their homes are like, and you really learn about every aspect of their lives. So if you're not into skating movies, don't worry, this is not a skating movie. It is really excellent. I personally need to still check out this documentary, which was recommended to me if I liked Mid-90s, called Minding the Gap. Feel free to check out Minding the Gap, but definitely check out Mid-90s by Jonah Hill. And we're getting down to the end. At number 2, I have Lean on Pete. Lean on Pete was definitely one of the saddest movies I saw this year, and it's definitely one of the saddest ones you'll see all year. Charlie Plummer as the lead was very convincing as this sort of broken family horse racer. He was really into running, but he didn't have any goals in his life until he meets Steve Buscemi, who shows him sort of the ropes of what it is to race horses. And he meets this horse named Lean on Pete, and that's really where the story takes off. This movie has one of the best cinematography elements of the film that I've seen all year. And don't be mistaken, Lean on Pete is not just another horse movie. It's another one of those where it's about the characters, and that's what it meant to me. Check out Lean on Pete. Alright, we are at number 1, and before I talk about number 1, I just want to say it's been a great year for movies, and thank you so much for watching all the way through, and Hang on. Sorry, I thought I just heard a noise and what? Alright, that was a little fun, but as you might have guessed, my number one film of the year is Hereditary. So, Hereditary is a scary movie, and if you don't like scary movies, you should not watch Hereditary. I personally had a lot of trouble sleeping after watching this movie. It just digs into that psychological fear that is so powerful in the best of horror movies, and it is just downright creepy. It is actually the directorial debut for Ari Aster. It is so good. I can't wait to see what else he has planned in the future. Toni Collette definitely needs to get an Oscar nomination for this movie. She is brilliant and terrifying in this movie. There's one scene in this movie that just terrified the hell out of me, and I think you know which one I'm talking about, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. I really hope you check out Hereditary, but only if you can handle it. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in the full list and more, it will be in the comments below. I do want to mention some honorable mentions for my favorite movies of 2018. I have Searching, Leave No Trace, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and The Favorite. These were all great movies that just didn't make the top 10, but were someone that I think you should check out. Another great experience I had this year was seeing 2001: A Space Odyssey in IMAX, and that was a religious experience that you need to experience at some point in your life. It's one of the best science fiction movies of all time, and to see it on the big screen was even better. I still haven't seen Roma, Sorry to Bother You, or If Beale Street Could Talk, and I know those are going to be some big time movies come Oscar season, so if you like those movies or have other movies that aren't on this list, be sure to let me know, and thanks for watching.